Hey everyone, Brienne here with my ABA mentor, and today I'm going to talk about the beginning process of when I decided to forge my own path and learn about business and learn about being a director and all of those things. And so make sure and like and subscribe to the channel so you can get our latest videos and trainings. And to just kind of recap a little bit about the experience that I was having at this time, in my previous video, I was talking about being fired and escorted out of a company, which I don't recommend, but it is what it is. That was part of my experience. And so at that time, I literally just was escorted out of the building, and I was pretty much just in my car, crying, trying to figure out what I was gonna do. And I called my friend and, I was like, you won't believe what happened and this and that. And, I'm right because I want to provide good services and this and that and whatever. And so I was sitting there, just super upset and thinking about what was I gonna do. And at that time it was myself and my 2-year-old, and I had just recently split from the, relationship that I had, and things were just all a mess. I was like, this is just too much. So sitting there thinking about my options, and I call up my friend telling him, what's going on. And prior to this conversation, we had several conversations over the course of time with me talking about what I was so frustrated about in our field and upset about in respect to how services were being provided, and that I was really just looking for, where do I fit in the field? And I'm passionate about it. I want to provide really high quality services, but I don't seem to fit anywhere. And so over the next course of conversations, kind of got to a point where he said to me, well, I know that you're really upset about everything that's going on. Why don't we, come together, and I will help you and teach you about business and fund these services, and you can be in charge of making sure that all the services are being done ethically and we're providing good services to the family. And we were sitting there, and I looked at him, I thought about it, and I was like, no. And, because in my mind, in my previous experience, I was sitting there thinking, hello, I didn't finish business school. I transferred out of business school because accounting was enough for me. And that is just not, I just cannot see myself going in that direction. And so that was the initial answer, was no way. And after several conversations, we talked more about it, and eventually he came and said, I really think that we should go in this direction, and and I'll help you, and I'll teach you everything that you need to know about business and help you get started and fund this. And at that time, I was looking at all my options, and here I am, jobless with a 2-year-old and not able to pay my rent that was, very expensive. And at that time was thinking, well, why not? Let's do it. And so I just kind of went head first in this direction, and really, in hindsight, had no idea what I was getting myself into. And I didn't, I took a couple business classes until I realized that was business is not my jam, which is almost a funny joke because business is my jam. So at that time, in my mind, it wasn't. It was the last thing that I wanted to do. I just wanted to have good services for the kids, and I just loved every child like they were my own, and that was important to me. And so I took the position that was like, well, I'm going to take the path that helps me improve services for these children, and I am open to whatever path that is. And for me at that time, with my life circumstance, with my job circumstance, and looking at all the options that I had between going and working for another company and saying, well, hope it's better, but really knowing in my heart that it was not necessarily going to be better, or not necessarily what I wanted it to be and the quality that I wanted services to be, or I go in this super extreme direction and jump headfirst into this venture and figure it out as I go. And eventually that was my choice. I chose to go the, difficult path and jump headfirst into trying to learn everything as quickly as possible. Putting everything together was like in super learn mode, and ended up, working in the long run. But that was kind of how I got there. And looking back, looking at all of my experiences, and if you have seen some of my videos, or you've been watching my videos kind of in order, the theme of my path has always been in this direction. And when you're on that direction, you don't really foresee what's happening, but then hindsight is always 20/20, right? So when you look back and you say, oh, like all this happened, and this is why this happened, and this is how this is connected, and all those things. So because of all the experiences that I had, it really just made sense to me that this was going to be the next phase of my career, and it was great, and I will never regret that decision. But I will say that I was not prepared for the path that I had chosen. And when you are presented with an opportunity that you don't really know what the road looks like, it's hard to know what to expect, and it's hard to kind of wrap your mind around the journey that you're about to go on. And it is a difficult one. It is a very I don't want to say treacherous, but it's kind of difficult. There's ups and downs, and backslides, and then really big gains, and all of those things. And it's a learning process, and it's really your own learning process and how you get there. And I will tell you that the comment that people make, like, oh, this took my blood, sweat, and tears, and this and that and whatever, yeah, that is actually a true statement. And when I thought about that statement, it was like, oh, you're just saying it's tough, like, that's fine, it'll be okay. But the reality is that it is actually real blood, real sweat, and real tears, and lots of them, because it's kind of a never-ending path of development. And so you really just need to be prepared for that, if that is the path that you are on. So as always, if you are looking for mentorship, we have mentorship programs for fieldwork students, for BCBAs, BCABAs, and for business owners. If that's the direction you want to go, we can help with that too. So links are all in the description, and I'll see you on the next video.